Putting like a $2.5 billion dent in the universe feels really amazing.
Ben Levine loved academia, but he loves making an impact even more. As a chief product officer of Candidly, he helped users eliminate $2.5 billion in student debt. We discussed the metrics that matter when evaluating engineering talent and the hard line between generative AI and absolute certainty in finance. I'm Jacqueline Samira. Welcome to CEO Studio.
I'm Ben Levine, I'm the Chief Product Officer at Candidly.
Did you start with Candidly from day one? Are you one of the co-founders, or can you tell me a little bit about your journey to the company?
Yeah, absolutely. Not a co-founder. I joined at seed stage. I was the first data scientist at the company. And I joined Candidly immediately coming out of, or dropping out of, I should say, a PhD program at Columbia. Prior to that, I had been a data scientist in industry. I knew that I really enjoyed being a data scientist in industry, and I was really excited about being able to jump back in at an earlier stage company and drive impact for them.
I did read that you dropped out of a PhD program to pursue. What went into that decision?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, what I really enjoyed about academia, the research and the teaching, I felt like I could still find within industry. And certainly, I'm still publishing research and, having been able to grow out a team that brings fulfillment in a similar way. We're not in the classroom, but in a similar way to what teaching did. So I feel like I was able to carry that along into my time with Candidly. In addition to that, also, it's just hard not to be excited and get a sense of fulfillment around one, the immediate feedback cycles of producing products that users can touch and feel and respond to immediately, and then being able to drive impact for them. And honestly, putting a $2.5 billion dent in the universe feels really amazing. And that's the impact we've been able to drive for our users, reducing the burden of their student debt.
That's incredible. So before you started your PhD journey, were you wanting to be a professor? Was that the goal and why you entered the program?
So both of my parents are academics, and both sets of grandparents are also academics. So it runs in the blood. And actually, when I was I was a data scientist at Twitter before, now X, before starting the PhD program. I looked at the data scientists whose careers I admired, and they all had PhDs. And so I thought, hey, whether I go into academia or I come back to industry, return to industry, this will unlock doors for me and also give me a tighter lens through which, and a greater tool set through which I can approach whatever problems I encounter.
So, okay, so you go the course of PhD, people you admired were PhDs, your parents were academics as well, and you get into the program and then you realize I want to be more hands-on with this, and you had this opportunity. Tell me a bit about, did you find the opportunity? Did the opportunity find you? How did that happen?
So when I made the decision to leave the PhD program, and then I was like, okay, well, I know that I want to be somewhere earlier stage versus, at that point, Twitter was a public company. But I don't know the first thing about choosing startups.
Did you work at Twitter when it was a public company, or were you there through the process of it going public?
No, I joined Twitter after it became a public company.
Oh, wow.
Yes, so if you've read Hatching Twitter, that was the antecedent to when I joined. For sure had a colorful cast of characters as executives and within the leadership team there. Learned a lot from them. Going back to how I found, or how Candidly and I kind of found each other, because I think there is a little bit of kismet there. I was like, okay, I have no idea how to choose a startup, right? I'm a PhD student. But it's some people's jobs to find good startups. And maybe, I can put my resume out there to those folks and they can kind of help route me, and it's in their best interest too. I know I have, something I can bring to the table. And so I sent my resume out to a bunch of VCs, and I heard back from almost none of them. I'm like, wait, I'm kind of getting along in the job search with a few other companies, and I get a call at 6 p.m. At this point, I was living in New York, and from a number I don't recognize, and he goes, hey, this is so-and-so VC, I'm on my way to a founder dinner. Tell me about yourself, and tell me about yourself in like 20 seconds. And so I like fumble through my elevator pitch of myself, which I had not practiced. And he just goes, okay, thanks, and then hangs up. Turns out he was seated next to Laurel Taylor, our founder and CEO, at that dinner. It just so came up that she was looking for a data scientist. He said, I think I have a guy for you.
Wow.
And like, we were then, the week later, she was kind of walking me through some slides of like what her vision for the company was. She got about 30 seconds into those, and I was like, I'm in. Like, what do I need to do? What do I need to prove in
Amazing.
order to show you that I belong?
Wow, that is definitely kismet. Like everything aligning, even the guy calling you, being sat next to her. What a great story. Can you tell me a little bit about Candidly?
Yeah, absolutely. So we exist to crush debt and build wealth. We got our start helping folks through decisions around college planning, so sending their kids to college, and also student loan paying down their student debt. Frankly, because that's often folks' first interactions or first really large interactions with the US financial system, taking out what is on average a $38,000 loan to go to undergrad. Total student debt in the US right now has reached $1.7, $1.8 trillion. So as far as driving impact, we felt like that was a great place to start. Since then, of course, some folks' financial journey does not end when their student debt ends, right? And so we've expanded to help now folks across both sides of the balance sheet and the fullness of their financial journey, helping them budget, helping them save in case for emergencies, helping them save for retirement and to reach other goals that they have in their lives.
So how does it work? So I have a daughter in college right now. She's racking up some student debt. How does the product work?
Congratulations, and I'm sorry. What we do is provide AI financial guidance. And so we can meet your daughter wherever she is in the journey and however she feels about taking on that debt, however you feel about her taking on that debt. And what we do is help her think through her options as far as how to best extinguish that. For example, there are still federal programs that put folks on the path for some amount of loan forgiveness. There's also, of course, the opportunity to accelerate some of that student loan pay down. So if she was in school a few years ago, those loans were getting issued at like an 8% interest rate, right? And so the power of devoting additional dollars once she's out in the workforce towards paying that down, that's a really high ROI, right? There's also, of course, opportunities for refinancing and other repayment plans that we can help match her to help personalize that guidance and get her on the best journey for her.
And then after, so you're saying even further along the line, how do you, actually, before we get into that, I am curious, how do you guys make money?
So absolutely. So what's great is we're not conflicted and we're always free to the user. We're distributed by financial institutions, banks, retirement record keepers, and others alongside employers. So we're distributed either as a benefit that you get from being a member at one of those institutions or a benefit that you receive from your employer.
So how does it work being like, I'm an employer, I have people that have student debt. How would it work for someone like me?
Sure, and it's not just student debt. So
okay, great.
Yeah. So you're an employer. You have employees that are making a range of financial decisions.
Yep.
You're also already offering, a retirement plan, right? You're offering a set of benefits. They may or may not be getting utilized.
Right.
And certainly, what you don't want is your employees on the job being stressed out about their finances. The data show that that's super. That the effects on productivity are super adverse when folks are preoccupied by their finances. So you and Candidly might get introduced, and we launch with an email out to your employees, inviting them into the platform. And from there, our AI assistant, Cait, can help them either connect information that they need, or match them to benefits that you're already offering in order for them to get the most out of what you're offering them as an employer.
Can you tell me a little bit about the AI assistant? You called it Cait?
That's right.
Cait?
Yes.
I'm assuming you guys built it. Tell me a little bit about Cait, about your team, how you thought through building this piece of the product.
Yes, and Cait is spelled C-A-I-T.
Does it stand for something?
Yes, it does. Conversational AI tool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So Cait, it serves a dual purpose. One is as an assistant throughout the platform, kind of interwoven throughout the digital experience that helps you actually take action, helps you actually open an account, helps you actually start saving, helps you actually extinguish your student debt. In addition, of course, she's an expert on all of those topics as well. So as far as how we built Cait, we've taken that modular approach where we endow Cait with the ability to call deterministic tools that return calculations back to the user. So what that means is that the large language model is never creating those calculations anew, never kind of inventing that math. And we're able to leverage like pre-built, audited calculations to return things like, hey, look, here's how we think that between making progress on your debt, saving for retirement, and saving for an emergency, you should really allocate the funds that are available to you. We need to do that in order to be enterprise ready, right? And also, like, we need to do that in order to feel good about the product that we're delivering users, right? I would never want to deliver a product to a user that I wouldn't feel comfortable using to myself, that I wouldn't feel comfortable giving to friends and family.
Yeah, why don't you let LLMs do math?
So why don't we let LLMs do math or do more math? And that's because in particular, in a highly regulated domain like finance and personal financial guidance, the math needs to be right every single time. And that's a degree of certainty that only a deterministic system, only a deterministic function or calculation can provide. And so we've offloaded a lot of that financial or mathematical reasoning towards deterministic systems that are overlaid by generative AI, by LLMs that allow us to then leverage those deterministic calculations and that precision, that consistency, to then present those to the user in a way that makes it easy to understand and easy to take action on.
Amazing. Do you believe you'll ever let it be non-deterministic when Gen AI becomes undeniably reliable at math?
I'm extremely hesitant to use words like always and never in a field that's moving as quickly as LLMs and AI has been moving. I think if you look back at some of the predictions that were made 6 months ago, 18 months ago, versus where the systems are today, I would just feel like I was putting myself in a position to look silly.
Yeah.
And for sure, I think the more what you're getting at is exactly the balance and the taste that we're striking for our partners, which is, okay, where do we feel comfortable leveraging the magic, right? That is generative AI versus what needs to be right literally every single time in a way that I can prove to you.
Can you talk to me a little bit about the backend and how you built it? Are you building it off one of the foundational AI models? Did you build your own small language model? Can you talk me through that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're language model agnostic. Lots of our partners have particular choices that they've made about model providers. And
Okay.
one of the things that we offer, and many of them also want to retain rather that option value. And so we needed to be model agnostic. That's been a technical challenge that we've had to build around for the last few years. So what the architecture is twofold, and Cait has what are essentially two different registers. The first register is really what is passing back and forth between the user. The second is the analytical side. On the analytical side, what we've taken is a skills and scripts approach, where Cait has access to a sandbox that has within it references that she can pull from around, hey, this is how you should approach thinking about somebody's retirement savings, as an example. And by the way, here are the tools, here are the scripts that you can invoke and just parameterize, right? So, take the user's savings that we have in this database, or rather they've told us from here, and then place them within this function over here that will then return to you what that projected growth is over time. All of that to say that what we've created is this hybrid AI system where the parts that need to be deterministic, the parts that need to be precise, the parts that need to be consistent always occur within that deterministic code, and the elements that and the joy that AI brings, being able to stitch together and synthesize information from different calculations, and also be able to explain things in analogies that make sense to you, right? Or analogies that make sense to me. The creation of visual components that make it easier for me to take action. Those stay. We're able to retain the magic that the foundation models are able to deliver.
Interesting. So when you're working with larger companies that say, no, I only want to work with Codex, or I only want to work with Cloud, or whatever it is that they say, who's paying for the token usage then? Is it the company? Is it because they're the one getting to decide which one to use?
So that's partner dependent,
Okay.
I'll say. And I think one of the things that it depends upon is which environment we're launching in. Are we launching within their VPC, or is it a Candidly hosted service?
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're within their VPC, often, whether it's a closed source model or an open source model, they may have existing technical infrastructure that they want to leverage versus offloading that to us.
What is your happy path? Is it being deeply ingrained with these very customized enterprise companies, or is it more you guys host it yourself and everybody just does it the Candidly way, or it doesn't really matter, you're just happy? What does that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for us, the happy path is the happy path of the partner. And we understand that for some partners, we need to be more deeply integrated. And that's something that we relish and that we love, because it means that with that deeper integration comes rather the opportunity to more deeply interweave what we can bring together within their experience. Of course, many folks just aren't there yet, and so they want to start. So we're actually agnostic and don't view them as necessarily mutually exclusive, but maybe a path from one to the other.
I see. Do you guys have, because of the deep integrations, do you end up having a lot of forward deployed engineers that you have to farm out, or talk me through your team a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So our AI engineering effort began really with our data science team, and I'll get to forward deployed engineering in a moment. Our AI engineering efforts began with our data science team primarily because we wanted to create evaluations, evals, as a first-class concern.
Yeah.
And being able to measure uncertainty is obviously extremely important and extremely helpful in the creation of those systems. It also, I think, maps really nicely to what do we need in order to be enterprise ready. Well, you can't just say trust me, bro. You have to be able to bring data to bear. And so that's why we began with that data science team. As far as forward deployed engineering, it's actually the same group of folks that are pushing the frontier of Cait's capabilities that are forward deployed within our partners' environments, because any delta between the two, and you end up really shortchanging partners, honestly, is my belief. So we really want to bring the partners close to the metal, or as close to the metal as possible. That, of course, makes it very difficult to hire, because it's a very unique set of skills and attributes. But I love the team, and they've been phenomenal partners to me as well.
Are you guys all in the same location? Are you distributed? What does the team look like?
Distributed by design.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, tell me more.
So we do have an office here in San Francisco. We also have some folks in Austin throughout the East Coast.
Oh, yeah.
And then we do have an engineering team. Actually, it was Candidly's first engineering team in Portugal.
Oh, very cool.
Yes.
How did you come to decide on Portugal? Or was it before you? Does it predate you?
It predates me, but I can provide the context there. And it's where it's like I said, they were our first engineering team. Our founder didn't want like an outsourced shop and wanted them to be full-time engineers. And the Portuguese education system actually has historically invested a lot in English in ESL, English as a second language teaching. So they're all obviously perfectly fluent, and they're phenomenal engineers.
Amazing. Yeah, we've heard a lot of great things. I love it when countries do that. Same thing in Uruguay. 80% of the population speaks perfect English because their schooling has been English predominantly led.
I think isn't it right that Uruguay offers essentially free schooling up to and through college?
Most Latin American countries are free schooling even through university. Yeah. But yes, you are right to say that because that is true.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Amazing.
I know.
Yes.
I know.
Something to learn from, perhaps.
And most people there actually go on and have their master's degrees. It is more common to have your master's degree than just your undergraduate.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I did not know that.
I know.
That's
And
incredible.
one other fun fact, there are more cows in Uruguay than people.
That I did know. Yes. I've been to Montevideo and La Pedrera, which is a small little beach town.
Yeah.
Wonderful people and great steak.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Underrated. Argentina gets all the credit.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I think it's just so small.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
That's why. So how big is your team right now? How many folks do you have on it? Whether full company or just the product team?
So the full company is the full company is around 75 people, and the team focused on building this AI product is 15.
15. And how often are you having to update based on updates from the new language models? Is it always constant, or do you feel like what you've built is pretty steady state and you're able to build on top of that? Can you walk me through that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So models are always changing, and that's been a first-class consideration for a long time. I think we've made a few architectural decisions that have compounded and allowed us to make use of those advancing capabilities. Those being things like allowing Cait to have this code sandbox so that when those models improve in their ability to reason mathematically or reason through code, we're able to leverage those gains rather than say, shoot, like we need to really rethink this from the ground up. That's really how I think about the technical development, which is what are the bets that we can make that take advantage of an exponential rather than fighting against it.
How much of your code right now is generated by AI versus by humans?
So interestingly, sorry if you'll permit this.
No, of course.
So
this is the exciting stuff.
Yeah. So occupational hazard as a data scientist, I pulled the last 2 years of data from GitHub, Jira, Notion, and the Excel files that we had historically used for quarterly planning. And I constructed this longitudinal panel of what somebody was working on, the team that they were working on it with, the actual code diff, an analysis of that code diff, and then any downstream impacts that had. And so then, for the first time ever, I can now have this empirical view of management.
Yeah.
And so, here are the folks that are really the central nodes in that review graph that really elevate everybody else. Here are some quantitative measures of performance and what teams work best together, right? Also things like, hey, what we found is that teams that had a directly responsible member of the executive team moved 25% faster than teams that didn't, in part because only 20% of the life cycle of the software development function was actually code gen and code review. The rest of it is planning, right? Planning and QA, I should say.
Yeah.
And so, I think for the first time ever, we're now able to use AI not just to do code gen, but also to evaluate the teams. To answer your question directly, 85% of our code is generated by AI.
Amazing. The explanation you just gave me was the most data science approach to leadership I've ever heard, but it's amazing. You probably get such great insight that helps you make very quick decisions.
I thank you. Like I said, occupational hazard.
Yeah, no, but
I am who I am.
also occupational pro.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, tiger can't change its stripes, right? um, I view those. I view that quantitative analysis as informing questions rather than immediately leading to conclusions, and just the beginning of a conversation. But for sure, it dramatically accelerates and focuses those conversations.
That was the academic side of you, being very like inquisitive as far of.
It all does tie together.
Yeah, it totally
Or at
does.
least having lived it, it feels a
Yeah.
lot more connected than maybe it does on the page.
That's so great. Okay, fast forward. When you guys talk to me about just company planning in general, how do you guys organize your year, your quarter, your week, your product development? Is it something that you plan super far in advance? Is it something that it's minute by minute, day by day? How do you guys look at that?
Yeah, absolutely. So every year, we sit down as an executive team and map out like, okay, what are the 3 to 4 pillars this year that just aren't going to change as goals? And that's, of course, as a result of conversations that we have with the board, conversations that we have with our customers, the management level. And we go through a quarterly OKR cycle, like many companies. Very recently, we've shifted EPD, engineering, product, and design planning to 45 days, shifting that down from quarterly planning. Reason being, we're just moving so much faster that it's actually more overhead to plan for the full 90 rather than to plan for the 45-day cycles. And what's been really interesting is actually like the EPD team would have preferred 30 days. Our stakeholders though were like, hey, like we got to coordinate, externally, internally, et cetera. And so just doing it twice a quarter is a little bit cleaner than, okay, we need to do this on a truly ongoing basis. So it's really that like balance, right, between like planning overhead versus like, hey, we need to give folks a heads up around what we're doing.
Amazing. Do you feel like of the EPD team, do you feel like there's a bottleneck, or are you always trying to like manage the levers of that? The reason why I ask this is because historically for us, engineering was always the bottleneck in terms of what we were waiting, and now we've moved and shifted into a place where it's like, oh gosh, now we got to move faster on product. Are you experiencing that as well? And if so, like how do you manage the levers that make it so everybody flows perfectly in this ideal timeline?
Yeah, well, when we are jointly able to reach nirvana, I think you should let me know exactly how you've achieved that. It's like Sisyphus pushing the rock up the hill, except whatever that rock is changing. And I think we've experienced that as well. So just to like maybe put a few numbers to it, ticket life cycle 2 years ago was roughly 27 calendar days. Those tickets are now getting through in 14. And so we've dramatically reduced kind of in aggregate, but also compositionally, like you were saying, the bottleneck has shifted from being engineering to actually getting stakeholders aligned and doing the planning and making sure that what we're doing builds on a cohesive, coherent, and cogent understanding of what we're trying to accomplish as a product, what we're trying to accomplish as a company.
Yeah. So do you find that the 45-day sprints, let's just say, are now helping you get more aligned? Or because you were saying that some people are like, let's not go to 30. 30 seems too fast and too rigid. Do you find that 45 is a good place that you've like landed on?
So I think the shifting to 45-day plans, I feel great about. The other change that we've made that I feel great about is moving from pods of 7 that were each individually led by a product manager, very traditional, right?
Yeah.
To what we've called atomic units, which are units of somewhere between 2 and 3 folks, sometimes led by a product manager, sometimes led by an engineering lead, flattening the organization and bringing each of those closer to their stakeholders. Also, because we're going through that planning every 45 days, we're actually, the consequence of that is to, again, bring the stakeholders in on a more frequent cycle within that planning process. So it's early days yet, but we're really excited about like some of the early data there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's we're starting to see that too, but I think we're stumbling into it and not like, we didn't really zoom out and be like, yeah, actually shrink it from 7 to 2 to 3, but it's also what we've naturally evolved into too.
To be clear, this wasn't like some grand plan. For sure, iterative learning was a.
We've all arrived at the same place. So you went from being a data scientist to the chief product officer. Can you tell me a little bit about that journey? Why moving into product versus engineering? Would love to just learn your path.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, look, as a data scientist, you're working so closely with product anyway.
Yeah.
That it felt like, in particular, as we knew the product was going to take this next step towards being more AI native, it made more and more sense, I think, to have somebody leading the team that, one, deeply understood the technology that we were going to be building off of, and also understood how to measure it, and kind of shortening that cycle and consolidating that cycle under a singular function, I think has paid dividends for us.
It makes a lot of sense. Like a machine learning expert leading the product, I don't see it very often, and so it seems intuitive though with the way that our future is going.
I mean, thank you for saying that. That's very kind. I don't know of too many either, and like for sure, I still love the discipline.
Yeah.
Right. I do also really enjoy people, and I think like this is actually one of the elements of moving to a startup that I've really enjoyed is nobody ever said like, hey, stay in your lane.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody's appreciative of having an additional helping hand. And it just so happened that like that outstretched hand kept going deeper and deeper into the product. But yeah, I still love picking apart the data with the team.
Is there anything I should have asked you that you would love for people to know, either users or other companies, that you feel really differentiates your company from the options that are out there?
So I think how we think about trust is really important, I think, for people to know. And I think about it along 3 spokes. One is security and privacy. The second is consistency and precision, correctness. And the third is actually memory. So the first, for going on 9 years now, we've been entrusted by some of the largest financial institutions in the world to help folks with some of the most intimate financial decisions. So the math has to be right every single time. And the way that we treat that data has to be right every single time. The second is accuracy and correctness. And there, it's less, hey, just trust me, and more for our partners, let us bring data to bear that show you, just like self-driving vehicles are multiple times more safer than a lot of human drivers. Providing AI financial guidance through Candidly is actually safer than allowing generative beings, we just call them humans, to do this on their own. And then finally, like memory. So in the same way that in the movie 50 First Dates, Adam Sandler had to earn the trust of his date 50 times in a row, we view the opportunity to compound the learnings throughout that relationship as an opportunity to both gain trust and make the user experience better, more personalized, and more actionable for the user.
What are we going to be surprised about 10 years from now?
So I think that many people view the financial system as it exists today as a relatively frictionless one. And what we observe in the data from our users is that it's just not. And there are 2 gaps, I think, that we see, or 2 sources of friction that we see. The first is the source of friction between where you are and the knowledge and comfort that it would take to actually take action. The second is, okay, now that I know what action I need to take, let me go into my financial institution and do the 17 clicks that it takes in order to transfer funds from here to here, or open or close an account, make this trade. And I think over the course of the next 10 years, as AI helps close both of those gaps, we'll finally appreciate how big those frictions have been.
Okay, I have another question for you then. I read somewhere that quantum computing is going to be the next AI revolution. And people like Jamie Dimon and his company JP Morgan, they're really investing and investigating a lot in quantum computing and quantum mechanics, especially around finances, because they believe the next revolution is around quantum computing. Do you have thoughts on this?
I think, in the reading that I have done around quantum and finance, it's primarily focused on security and cryptography. And what does it mean to look forward towards worlds that can, or towards a world where technology can both be the unstoppable force breaking through security and also the immovable object, and making sure that our financial systems are secure and safe for us to use. So I think, in the same way that opening up digital portals allowed for new attack vectors and also, new security mechanisms, it's kind of the next realm of that as I read it.
Does that scare you, or does it give you, like, are you excited about the future when it comes to that, or nervous? Try not to think about it?
I have friends that work in the space that are really bright, specifically on the side of helping us secure
Great.
those accounts. And I'm really glad that there are a lot of smart people working on the problem. Beyond that, beyond that, I don't want to crash out, right? And there's nothing. I'm not working on the problem right now, so
Yeah.
I'm entrusting our safety to them.
Ben, thank you so much for the time. This was very insightful, and thank you for coming out.
Thanks for having me. Looking forward to talking again soon.